Yeah.
Hey everyone, to be Takamaru here, and for today's video, so Ultimate is now over, and I have to say, with almost 90 characters in total in this entire roster, it's really unbelievable how Smash Bros. Has gone ever since the original N64 Smash Bros. Game. And with every single character almost being in, except for Waluigi, Smash Bros. Is truly not just a fighting game, but a game full of celebrations and experiences. But just like with every game when it comes to development, there were characters that were intended to be in Smash Bros., whether they were considered scrap or weren't added at all, whether it was due to time constraints, development, or just licensing in general. There are a lot of characters that didn't make it into Smash Bros. From the original N64 game to characters that didn't really have the chance at all. So this would be a very long video, but I want you guys to at least stay on this entire thing so you get to learn on, to see what characters never really got into Smash Bros. I did make a video like this a while ago on my channel, but that was crap. So I wanted to remake this, and now with Ultimate, and I know there are characters that are seemingly seen as common knowledge at this point, but for those new Smash fans, I want you all to learn to see which of the characters that would have made themselves a cool potential fighter to begin with. So with that, hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started with this entire long video on every character that was scrapped for the entirety of the Smash Bros. Series. So, the first thing is not really just characters, but more alternate costumes. In the Smash 64 website's Q&A, Sakurai actually intended to have all of alternate costumes for Fox, having all 4 members of Team Star Fox: Falco Lombardi, Peppy Hare, and especially Slippy Toad. The thing is, he decided against it because characters, now Falco is understandable, Peppy may have potential, but Slippy was never really seen having any sort of fighting experience outside of the R-Wing and all. So it really made sense to not have any of the characters, which is really why Fox became a standalone fighter, while Falco became his own playable character in Melee. But next up, now we get to the actual characters that didn't make it into Smash 64, starting it off with Bowser. This was requested by Shigeru Miyamoto himself, but he didn't do it because it was due to time constraints and the lack of development. Plus, they didn't really want to rush anymore when Smash 64 was out, so that's why Bowser never really made it in Smash Bros. The next character was King Dede, where it's like the same as Bowser, where due to time constraints and lack of time, he was never a fighter in Smash 64, but was a cameo in the background in one of Kirby's stage, Dreamland. Now, the next character was Mark from the Fire Emblem series. That's right, Fire Emblem was supposed to be in the original Smash Bros. Game. It wouldn't really make an interesting difference if he was gonna be in the game. Now, the reason why he didn't make it, why Mark never made it, was that Sakurai stated that, I guess it was due to the fact that making a character that is only using a sword would be a bit difficult. Now, yes, Link was in Smash 64, but unlike Mark though, Link has used a variety of different materials and items that he can use in combat, such as the boomerang and the bow and arrows, rather than just using that much of his sword. So Mark only just using the sword would be a bit more difficult due to development, and that's really all I can say about it. I really would like to see what Mark would have played if he was in Smash 64 back then, but then again, at the time, Fire Emblem wasn't really that well known due to, everything else, and also wasn't really that popular outside of Japan. And then our final character from Smash 64 that was never a fighter was Mewtwo. Now, just the same with like the other characters like Bowser and King Dede, Mewtwo didn't make it due to time constraints. But unlike the other two I've talked about, Mewtwo actually worked in the game. So I guess they intended to have Mewtwo to be playable at some point, and I guess they just decided to scrap the entire model and moveset until they reuse all of it in Smash Bros. Melee. I'm actually curious what the model would have looked like back then. But now we went from Smash 64, next up is Melee. Starting the characters is a Famicom character. So Sakurai wanted to have some sort of a character that came from either the Famicom or the NES era. And while he ultimately decided on Ice Climbers, there were also other characters that were intended to come from the SNES era. One of them being Excite Bike, Bubbles from Cluco Land, a character from Urban Champion, and finally a Balloon Fighter. Though I do think some of those reasons may apply to why they weren't in Smash Brothers. Balloon Fighter would really make sense, because the thing is, if his balloon popped, then how else would he fight at all? And yes, Villager does have the up B, but unlike Balloon Fighter, he doesn't really fight at all aside from just, floating around. And for the Urban Champion character, they only are limited to at least 2 attacks, and that's about it. For Bubbles and Excite Bike, I am unsure of, but the other 2 I mentioned, yeah, you can see why Ice Commerce was decided to be the NES character to represent in Smash Melee. Now, there were 3 characters that was talked about by Sakurai, and 2 of them being like some sort of a joke, as they weren't really taken seriously. Being Mach Rider, who was stated because Sakurai liked the name of the character, and Takamaru, in which he joked whether he would be in Smash Bros. Melee or a sequel to his series, The Mysterious Murasame Castle. But the 3rd character was Ayumi Tachibana from the Famicom Detective Club series. So Sakurai was a big fan of this game back then and wanted to have a character. But unlike Fire Emblem, though, in which wasn't really that much popular in Japan, outside of Japan, the Famicom Detective Club series was way more obscure than ever. That is until the series got a remaster on the Nintendo Switch, so I can definitely see this character getting some moveset potential in a future Smash Bros. Game, and that's why she was only became a trophy in Melee, but then became a spirit in Ultimate. Now, even though I don't play the games at all, I wonder what her moveset would really be like if she was a fighter. I've seen many making concept movesets on what she'll do, and you know what, if there's ever going to be another Smash Bros. Game, I would definitely like to see Ayumi Tachibana, and to really fulfill on Sakurai's dream character when he was developing Melee. Now, our next character was a Earthbound or Mother character, whatever you want to call them. Lucas was the protagonist of Mother 3 and was actually supposed to replace Ness back in Melee, because I do think Mother 3 was being developed for the Nintendo 64. I think it was called the DR, like the Revolutionary Drive, where there's like 2 consoles on top of the N64, but due to the unsuccess of that console, Mother 3 for that game was scrapped, and that's why Ness returned as a playable character, and Lucas didn't make his playable appearance until Brawl. I always imagined what the series would be like if Ness was never gonna be a character in Melee and Lucas was the replacement for him. It really just wouldn't feel the same without the original 12 after all. Now, the next character was Snake. Yes, that's right, there were supposed to be third-party characters in Melee. So, Hideo Kojima was a good friend of Sakurai and was requested to have a Metal Gear character in Melee. But Sakurai stated that they didn't have enough time to add another character in Smash Melee. And it was due to how, I guess you can say, how Melee was this close to release, so they didn't have enough time, so Sakurai wanted to add this character later on until it's like the right timing. But then you can also say the same thing about Sonic the Hedgehog. This character had a very odd history in Melee. So Sonic is a very popular character, we know. But the thing is that he was teased in an April Fool's joke magazine in like Nintendo Power, where they stated that if you ever beat 20 opponents in Cruel Smash, then you would get Sonic and Tails in Melee as secret characters. But there was never secret characters to begin with, so yeah. But he was gonna be in the game at some point, but just like with Snake, they asked him at like the worst timing, so Sonic never made it in the first place. But then there were also two characters that came from Rare, Banjo and Kazooie, and also James Bond. That's right, James Bond from the series GoldenEye 007. It was unbelievable, and I'm still wondering on why James Bond was considered to really be in Smash. BanjoKazooie, however, was pretty understandable. At the time, Microsoft didn't bought Rare out yet, but I guess you can say it was due to how... Okay, I can say that. All I have to say is that it was something to do with the license on getting BanjoKazooie and Rare, and just like with James Bond, well, we know that characters from movies or TV shows or anime are not going to be in Smash Brothers, like Goku and all, so you can expect James Bond to not be in Smash due to his status on, you know, not being a video game character at all. And plus, can you imagine how much work it would be to have that character in Smash Brothers, especially with the whole realistic guns and all? I know Snake and Joker exist, but this is when the time of when, you know, Smash Brothers was more of just Nintendo characters and weren't really using that much crude humor and all. So yeah, these two rare characters and never made it because license, and especially the situation when having a GoldenEye 007 character being in Smash Bros. Like, they had to, like, get the actors and all. But that's all the characters for Melee. Now we move up to Smash Bros. Brawl. Now, the first thing I want to talk about for Brawl is three characters that were considered to be in Smash, but didn't made it, but made it eventually. Those characters were PacMan, Villager, and the Mii Fighters. Now, all these three characters had different reasons. PacMan, for example, was another request by Shigeru Miyamoto, but Sakurai stated that due to his pizza-shaped head, he didn't really have that much of a character. And I guess the way you can translate that is how that Pac-Man had a very hard design to even come up with. Now, characters like Kirby and Ice Comets are pretty obvious, but Pac-Man, as seen in many media, is mostly seen as a character with a pizza-shaped like head, and plus it would be a bit difficult to make the model, so I can see why they never intended to have this character until Smash 4. And the other character, Villager, was supposed to be in Smash Brothers, given how Animal Crossing, how there was one Animal Crossing stage in Brawl where Sakurai stated that Villager was going to be in Smash, but he wasn't really fit for, like, you know, fighting or anything else, so that's why they never really made it. Now, the same reason kind of goes for the Mii Fighters, but unlike Villager though, Sakurai says that the Mii Fighters weren't ready yet for punching or kicking at the time. Plus, it was also to prevent online bullying. I really didn't know about that at the time, so I can see why. It would have been really cool to see the Mii Fighters fight though. That would have been quite amazing. Our next character was a Star Fox representative, that being Crystal. Now, Crystal was supposed to be the new Star Fox rep, but Sakurai has stated that due to Fox and Falco having somewhat the most having a very similar moveset, with Falco being a semi-clone, it would be very hard to make Crystal given a new moveset and all. Plus, it was really due to how delayed Brawl was, since a lot of licensings happened, which is really why Crystal was never going to be in Smash Brothers as a character, and Wolf was decided as the new Star Fox rep, given how Fox, Falco, and Wolf have somewhat similar and somewhat identical movesets. Now, a part of the Pokemon Trainers Pokemon, Blastoise was supposed to be the Water-type Pokemon to be represented, but I guess Sakurai stated, now I wasn't too sure what he really means by it, but it was really due to how very easy you can play as Squirtle, meaning you can just play the character Squirtle way more swiftly, and to me personally, and I think to some people, I guess it's a way to stay true to the Pokemon series with the whole evolution type stuff, with Squirtle being the pre-evolution, Ivysaur the mid-evolution, and Charizard being the final evolution. That's like a nice touch to what the Pokemon series is. And now, finally, before we get to what's coming up next with the Brawl characters, the last character was Gino from the Mario RPG series. Sakurai has stated that he definitely understands the character's popularity, and many fans wanted to have this character. He wanted to have Gino for his gun, and especially especially with his popularity, but just like with other characters like BanjoKazooie and James Bond, the licensing with Square Enix was pretty impossible, so Gino never made it in Smash Brothers and was reduced into a Mii costume in the later games. But now we get to one of the most infamous parts of Brawl's unused characters, and these characters were known as the Forbidden Seven. The first one we had to talk about was Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario was a character that was the Forbidden Seven were characters that were founded in the game's files, and it was speculated that whether or not they were characters to begin with or were scrapped. So Dr. Mario was supposed to be in Smash Brothers because of the code name file, which was Dr. Mar. Now, at first, people were skeptical that it wasn't real until in Smash 4 it had the same data file name. So Dr. Mario was supposed to be in Smash Brothers. I wouldn't mind that, really. And then the next character from Melee was Roy from the Fire Emblem series. Now even though he has his name found in the data files, he also had some sort of animation attack sort of way into making it. So that's really why it really interpreted that Roy was gonna be in Smash Brothers. Then again, I wasn't too sure whether there will be a third Fire Emblem character, but who knows at this point. And then the final character, now unlike the other two, out of all the Melee characters, Mewtwo had the most data files found in his code. One of them being his own victory fanfare, a Japanese voice files, and especially a Wii sound effect where if you guys played Brawl, when you choose a character you hear closely at your Wii remote, it makes a small little sound. And also, I think he also had more of an animation attack. So Mewtwo had the most files out of the Melee characters, but there were also 4 other characters that were either intended to be in Smash Brothers or were just there for like unknown reasons. Now, Dixie Kong was one of the Forbidden Seven, and Dixie Kong was supposed to be founded. It was founded in the files. They weren't too sure if she was gonna be a playable character until Sakurai confirmed it that Dixie Kong was gonna be in Brawl. She was supposed to have a moveset along with Diddy Kong, which is supposed to play similarly and identically to the original appearance, Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest, which was Dixie's first appearance. Now, it is really unknown why they didn't remove her, but but there were some saying that Dixie's whole character and due to the lack of development, Diddy was reduced to his own character, and Dixie was never seen as a playable character until the later Smash Bros. Games, but still isn't a playable character to this day. Now, the other characters are from Zelda. Like, I think Wind Waker came out back then, so it was it totally represented Wind Waker. There were characters that might at least that we can interpret were supposed to represent Wind Waker way more, that being Toon Zelda and Toon Sheik. Now, Toon Zelda was only found in the code's game files, and so was Toon Sheik, but Toon Sheik had an odd story, since we'd never really seen an iteration of Sheik in the Wind Waker universe, since her only appearance was just in Ocarina of Time. But I guess you can say that Tetra, but most people like to point out that it was Tetra, since Tetra was sort of like the Persona version of Toon Zelda, which is like, you know, what Sheik really is. But then the last character for Brawl is a debatable one, and that codename was Primai. Most would like to point out it would be Plusle and Minun because of the Japanese names of how do you pronounce them, Parasol and Minun. But some would like to say that it was mostly a codename for the whole random button. It is debatable whether you think it, but you can think about it on your own. But you guys can think about it in your own head. I just really don't know if these characters would make a good fighter, but that's just my opinion. They just kind of look like Pichu clones to me. Now we move on into Smash 4, where it consists of both installments at the same time for the 3DS and Wii U. The Ice Climbers was supposed to return as a playable character, and the thing is though, it was due to the hardware limitations. We gotta remember, Smash 4 both came in at different versions, the 3DS one and the Wii U one. Sakurai also says that they worked very well in the Wii U version, even in 8-player Smash, but the 3DS version became way more more impossible because due to the hardware limitations, it was hard for them to move way more smoothly than the Wii U version. And given how they had to remove a lot of things and Sakurai wanted to have an identical roster for both of them, Ice Climbers, he decided to give up and decided to just give Ice Climbers, you know, just give him like a bit of a vacation for these two until they return in Ultimate. Our next batch of characters are a few ones that were originally going to be part of costumes. Now, with Star Fox, they were supposed to be having all 4 characters from Team Star Fox, but there were also characters from Smash 4 that were considered to be alternate costumes to their original counterparts. One of them being Lucina and Dr. Mario, and also Dark Pit as well. Sadly, the image didn't pop up, so all I can say is that Lucina, Dark Pit, and Dr. Mario were supposed to be alternate costumes to their original counterparts, but as Sakurai stated, he wanted to give these characters more of a unique factor, so that's why they got their own separate slots. But the weirdest part about it is the fact that Alf was not a clone character. Unlike the other 3 characters I mentioned, Alf was supposed to be a clone character to Olimar, where he was supposed to have the Rock Pikmin as one of his allies. Since Pikmin 3 was out at the time, it was expected to have Alf as a character, but due to time constraints, he became a alternate costume to Olimar. But it really seems weirdly ironic. It's really ironic to see Alf becoming a costume while the other 3 I've talked about became their own character slots. But what I found even more strange and weirder is that even though with the time they have for Ultimate, he is still not his own character. So all I can say is that this is sort of like, you know, mean irony to this character. Next character was Takamaru. Now, unlike in Melee, Takamaru was actually taken seriously this time. But due to this character, like Ayumi Tachibana having his series very obscure outside of Japan, he was just degraded into an assist trophy. And then there was Heihachi Mishima from the Tekken series. Since Bandai Namco was working with Sakurai on development Smash 4, PacMan was expected to be in Smash Brothers, but also a Tekken ref. But Sakurai has stated in the Kazuya presentation, and even back then, that it was hard to implement the 3D aspect of the Tekken series and you know, trying to put it into Smash Brothers, which is why they had to delay it even further, which is why Heihachi only became a Mii costume and then returned again as a costume in Ultimate. Now, there were 2 other characters that I have to talk about, but my computer isn't really working, so all I can say is that Ridley and Chrom were supposed to be and considered to be in Smash 4. Sakurai stated that Ridley was a character that was considered previously in Brawl, and was supposed to be an assist trophy, but he then became a boss, but then he was also considered to be a character in Smash 4. The reason why was because of how challenging it is to decrease the size. If you were supposed to make the moveset of Ridley, then they would have to decrease the size of it, making a whole lot of memes of saying that Ridley was too big. And for Chrom, he was intended to be another Fire Emblem Awakening rep, but Sakurai has said that he didn't have that much potential for a moveset, which is why he was only part of Robin's Final Smash. And that's all of the characters for Smash Brothers for Wii and 3DS, and now we get to Ultimate. And with every character coming back, there were no characters that were cut from the previous games, but there were still some characters that were either considered or replaced. The first one was Diodueye. Diodueye was almost supposed to be the Pokemon Generation 7 rep, but Sakurai wanted to put Incineroar instead because of this character having way more of a unique moveset and also getting inspired by a lot of wrestling moves. I really would have loved to see Diodueye, but I had a hard time between these two, but I really preferred Incineroar more better because I want to see how Sakurai give this character more of an interesting wrestling type style. The next one was a Castlevania rep. Alucard was gonna be the only Castlevania rep to represent the series in Ultimate, but Sakurai decided to go with the Belmonts because I do think they prefer the Belmonts way more than Alucard, even if this character was seen by many fans and was more popular than the Belmonts. Now, here's the most unironic part, and the most funniest part about it. Well, I would say ironic, not unironic, but due to the base game at the time, ARMS and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had a lack of fighters, and Sakurai were intended to have these two characters getting represented from their respective series, but the Ultimate's base roster was finalized already. So when ARMS and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was announced back in, I think, 2017, they didn't have enough time to give out any characters. So that's why Pyra Mithra and Min Min became DLC characters later on, while the base roster gave characters like Springman as an assist trophy with Mii costumes from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and especially ARMS. It is funny to see how there were characters that were considered to be in the base roster but then became playable characters in DLC. I just find that funny. And now we get to some DLC characters, starting with some Dragon Quest stuff. So Slime was supposed to be the Dragon Quest rep that Sakurai stated. During a Dragon Quest XI Switch live stream and all, Sakurai said that if Square Enix were to not deny on Hero's inclusion, he would instead have Slime as a playable character. Then again, this isn't the first time Slime became a character, as he was playable in some past Nintendo collaborations, such as Mario Sports Mix and Fortune Street from the Nintendo Wii. And then the next character was also from Dragon Quest, but Sakurai intended to have all different heroes for the 8 costume slots, but due to time constraints they didn't, and that's why they decided to only put 4 characters, while 1 each get their own alternate colors. And like I said with the ARMS and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 reps, since these characters were DLC, there were some characters that had a hard time being the representative. Sakurai had Ninjara in mind, but the producer of ARMS, Kosuke Yabuki, has stated that Min Min was his personal favorite, and that's why Min Min was in, so Ninjara was reduced as a Mii costume. I would have preferred Ninjara anytime, but hey, Min Min's in Smash Bros, and I'm glad at least ARMS got a fighter representative at some point. And just like with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Rex was intended to be the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 rep. Since he became a Mii costume in the first Fighter's Pass, it was really, some were surprised that Pyra Mithra was going to be the character to represent Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Sakurai stated that due to hardware limitations, Rex having both with Pyra Mithra would be very difficult and would basically explode the console, which is why he not only became a Mii costume, but a part of the Final Smash and Taunts. So hey, at least Rex is in it. He is in Smash Brothers in some form of way. And then finally we get to Heihachi Mishima from the Tekken series. My goodness, I mean, this is the last character for Ultimate, so Sakurai, also when Bandai Namco was working together on a Tekken rep, Sakurai never had Heihachi chosen because Kazuya had the Devil Gene, making more of a more prominent, unique moveset. Even because if Kazuya wasn't going to be in Smash Brothers, then there would be no Tekken rep at all. So besides, what would Heihachi's up special would be? That's really what Sakurai said, but I'm just very curious if Heihachi was going to be the character. But then again, as Sakurai said once again, if Heihachi was going to be the character, what would his moveset really be? But that's all of the characters that were scrapped throughout the entire Smash Bros. Series. I hope you guys enjoyed this entire video, and let me know what you all think in the comment section below. Which characters would you really like to see be in Smash Bros. In the future? And do you wish some of these characters were going to be playable characters? I want to know all your opinions down below. I've talked so much in this video, and I know this is long, but I want to know all your opinions down below. And so with that, leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more videos, follow my Twitter, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember this, once a legend, always a legend. Like a Hellcat.